All right, well, we're getting ready for another big challenge against Yale. Obviously, a team who has a chance to win a regular season championship, a team who controlled the game in our building. We never led. It seems like a long time ago. I think it was almost 2 months ago at this point. So excited for the opportunity, excited for the challenge. Know that we'll have our hands full against a super talented team, a really well coached team, and a team that has had our number for quite some time.
Just talk about obviously you guys are the regular season here, but then looking at how you manage it, this is a potential first round matchup.
Yeah, our understanding that we'll have more basketball to be played is a great thing, but really, focused on what's in front of us, which is only Yale. We're not sure who we're playing after that. It doesn't really matter at this point. So want to make sure we have a great week of practice here to prepare for a really good opponent who again has dominated our series of late, and they've really been probably the most consistent program in our league for the last however many years. Not to take anything away from Princeton, I'd say Princeton obviously has been terrific too, but Yale has been consistently either one or two in our league for a long time. They've had our number, so they deserve our full attention right now.
Is the game time something that you're looking at just because the Ivy Madness schedule kind of coincides with early afternoon or late morning kind of thing?
It's interesting, a 12 o'clock game. I like playing earlier, especially if it's only a one-game weekend. But we'll try to keep our routine as similar as it has been for most of Ivy League play. Again, understanding there's more basketball to be played, and next week we'll probably have a similar feel in terms of our preparation. Our sole focus is on this Saturday at 12 and nothing beyond that.
Any thoughts, knowing you're locked in before, resting guys, making sure they're healthy?
No, other than we've been really, we've been intentional about giving them rest and recovery to this point this week. But in terms of rest and recovery this weekend, no. It's a huge game for us. Competition is what you live for, right? Anytime you have a chance to represent this incredible institution against a team like Yale, you savor those moments, and we want to continue to play really well. We want to win on Saturday, and continue to grow, continue to improve.
The obvious, Yale has great players, of course, but boxing, they talk about styles making fights and often determining the outcomes of fights. Just at their core, do they do things that maybe make your guys uncomfortable at both ends of the floor?
Well, they have the reigning defensive player of the year in the league from last season. I don't know if he'll win it this year, but he'll certainly be in contention. And he does I think he takes a lot of pride in guarding Keno. He does, I think, a very good job. His physicality and his athleticism and his size, make him what he is defensively. So I think it probably starts with him, but then they have really good size. They have really good passing among their forwards. Some of our success defensively has come through, our front court being able to disrupt the other team's front court players. It's not as easy when you play against the front court like Yale. And then, just they've been really consistent with their, the combination of talent and execution. And they've been really hard to beat in their building. So, we're playing pretty good, and we think we can beat anyone. So we're going in there with great confidence, but also full understanding of how challenging it's going to be.
What have the last few days been like?
Just obviously there's the distraction of what happens after this week, and you can't ignore all of it because there's logistics and planning and things that you have to do from a operational standpoint. But in terms of our on court and our work as a team, we've tried to really keep it as similar as it's been prior to this week. Obviously, you're hearing from a lot more people, so they have those distractions as well, and you appreciate that. But again, anything that takes away from our process isn't good. So we've got to try to stay as locked into that as we can, even when folks like yourself are writing nice articles and there's been nice pieces and on TV. We appreciate all that, but we got to try to stay true to who we are.
Mike, has the emergence of Chemo's shooting and even AJ, since you've added him to the lineup, is that kind of adding him to Chemo, adding those two guys, does that help maybe with the spacing for you guys offensively, give the bigs a little bit more room to operate or crash the offensive glass? Like having guys that now have proven they can knock it in from distance, does that help you offensively from a spacing standpoint?
For sure. I think so much of offense is about spacing and so much about spacing is shooting, and we're shooting the ball at a much higher clip in conference play from three-point range. But really since we've made the change in our starting lineup, while our offense I think has been pretty good, it's been our defense that has carried us. In those last 6 games, we're operating like a top 50 defense nationally, and prior to that, we weren't even close to that. We were in the mid 200s. So our defense, overall defensive efficiency in those 6 games, and it's a small sample, but that's what's carried us, and that has to be our identity. That's what we talked about going into the year. We want to be a top 50 defense. It's taken us till February to act like that, but that's what we've been. And I think a lot of it is our defensive rebounding has gotten back to where we expected it to be. Our defensive turnover percentage has risen to where we expected it to be. We're still fouling a little bit too much, but if you take away the amount of fouls, our defensive rebounding, our defensive turnover percentage, and then what teams are shooting from the field against us has allowed us to be a top 50 defense in those 6 games.
And then, good. I know how big the three-point field goal is in the sport today, because they say 33% from three equals 50% from the field. In league play, you guys have been really good both making the three and defending the three. You're number 1 in the league in defending the three. So I would imagine that, as much as anything, right, has been a key to your team successively.
Yeah, a lot of our wins have been like big point differentials from the three-point line, right? So obviously the other night, I think we had 33 more points from 3 than Dartmouth did, right? We make 16, they make 5. Again, if we take away our defensive fouling, we're fouling too much. I think that those are key stats, for us. I know, like the win at Columbia, I think we held them to 3 made threes. They're the number 1 three-point shooting team in our league. It's going to be huge. Now, with all that said, as good as Yale is shooting the 3, they're also, terrific scoring in the paint. So our interior defense is going to have to be great this Saturday.
As you mentioned how well you guys are playing over the last few games, how important is the message of keeping the momentum going into Ivy Madness, into this regular season?
Yeah, stay hungry has been a major theme. Feel good about getting step 1, right? Kind of check, that was something. This is where we want to be. We want to be playing after this Saturday, so feel good about that, but don't even think about being satisfied. Stay hungry, stay driven, stay determined to continue to grow and get better, and try to play really, really well this Saturday against a team that's playing for an Ivy League championship.
You mentioned the defense. This 5-game stretch, as well as you've played since non-conference last year, and I would argue that these opponents, compared to those, are better. Might know you better, might know how to attack you better. So, is it just your pieces connected at that end, or your guys? Do you see them maybe complementing each other in a way that's allowed them to be effective?
Yeah, I think they're first and foremost, all 17 of our guys are, really being intentional about trying to be the most connected team we can be. The 5 that are on the court, I think, are playing really well together. And there's different guys that are stepping up in different games, right? Obviously, you have Chemo's performance the other night, what he did at Columbia, what Kalu did at Cornell. I thought at Penn down the stretch, AJ and Malachi had some huge minutes late there, to win a key game to kind of get the streak going at Penn. So I like how they're playing together. I like how they're sharing the basketball. Our assist numbers have been really good as well, Bill. So I think anytime you get 15 or more assists in a game, and we've had that multiple times during this run, I think that talks about the chemistry and the cohesiveness of the team. And yeah, anytime you can win 5 in a row in this league, which is one of the better leagues in the country, you're doing something right.
Malachi obviously had some really good moments in the Harvard game, and Chemo's performance against Dartmouth speaks for itself, certainly. Your seniors have really stepped to the forefront here. I know you've experienced this. When you sort of see that finish line, it probably evokes something a little different, right?
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week. Like, Chemo's playing like a guy who doesn't want his career to end, right? I think Malachi's the same, and they're leading by example. They're leading with their voices, and obviously with their play. So, I'm just happy that they're going to have more than just this game remaining, right? We know that. Again, focused on this one, and we want to finish the regular season in a great way. The other thing we talked about the other day is no one in that locker room on Monday when we had our film session, other than the coaches, has beaten Yale. So it's the only Ivy League team we haven't beaten with this current group. No one on this roster has experienced a win over Yale. So we have great opportunity for that this Saturday.
Was there any moment, whether you might have been at home with your family or meeting with coaches, where you just accepted the accomplishment and looked back and said, finally made this tournament?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's been some. I mean, just small, like, kind of moments where you think, feels really good, that we're going to be playing after this Saturday. But and it's a hard feat, right? Like, it sounds simple. Well, we just made our conference tournament. Like, that's really all we've done. But it's a hard thing to do in this league. It's obviously been proven that it's hard to do here at Brown. So, I think you feel good, but not satisfied, and you feel even more hungry and determined and driven to do more. And that starts on Saturday.
I think I saw Kim here Friday night for the Harvard game. Any chance that you'll be at the Big East tournament earlier in the week?
I don't think so. No, we have. I was there last year. I didn't have any work to do last year at that time. So supporting Ed and his group. But next week I'll be working. So I'm thrilled that I won't be able to make that game.
Can you speak to maybe the development of that relationship over the course of the year?
Yeah, just have great respect for Kim and as a person, as a coach, and I think he's doing an incredible job with this team, given everything that they've dealt with, their injuries, and just the roster that they have right now. I think he's doing an incredible job, and I'm rooting hard for him to solidify their bid to the NCAA tournament as they finish the season. But yeah, just we've talked about our teams, our programs. We've talked about coaching in the state. We've played a little bit of golf in the off season, so I appreciate him, and again, very impressed with everything he's doing. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.